Hi, this is Kelly Phillips from paperbeadrollers.com, and today we're going to learn how to take these everyday materials and make a dipping box for glazing your paper beads. Let's get started. First, you're going to need to collect just a few items, and you may need to take a trip to the dollar store. So you're going to need a cardboard box, and we'll talk about the sizing of that box in just a second because it's going to depend on two other things that you find. Now, I bought both of these other things at the dollar store. The first was a roaster pan, and mine has a lid to it as well, though you don't have to have a lid. And then the second thing I found was a frame with some wire inside it. Now, these are pretty popular these days. You can find them everywhere. And if you can't find one, you can always make one by going to the hardware DIY store, getting some sort of chicken wire or wire that they have. They can cut you a little piece of it and just stapling it to the back of a dollar frame from the dollar store. But I did find this. I think this was actually $3 at the dollar store. It was one of those stores that's not, everything's not just $1. But it worked for me, and then I didn't have to go hunting for other materials. And then I got the roasting pan that was about the same size. So you see how my frame, it's not perfect, and that's okay, but it's roughly the same size as my roasting pan. Okay, so that's what you want, is a frame with some kind of chicken wire inside of it. This is what's going to hang on the top, and our beads are going to hang from it. And then you want the roasting pan. Now you need to find a box. So probably you'll have these around your house. You won't need to buy one, which would be fabulous. The trick is that the roasting pan needs to fit right on the inside of the box. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the flaps in. You could cut these off if you want, but I'm going to fold them in because I feel like it makes the box a little sturdier and may make it last longer. And then we're going to slide our roasting pan directly in. Now this would actually fit a little better without the lid on there. So you can actually take the lid off, it's fine. This just gives you two things to catch the drips. So this is the base of our box. I mean, how easy is that? Then what we're going to do is you're going to take your frame here, and you want your frame to sit right on top of the box. So let me flip this box over and down so you can see what I'm doing. So we want our frame to be able to sit right inside the box like this. And we're going to cut out the inside of this where it goes, okay? So what we need in order to do that is some kind of a pen or a marker. And all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to mark roughly where I want to make my cut. So it doesn't have to be perfect. You want to make sure you leave enough of a box frame that the top of this stays sturdy. Let's see if that gives me enough to cut off. It sure does. I'll outline it more for you guys just so you can see where I'm going to cut. Oops. Right there. Okay, so what you're trying to do here is you want to leave enough of the box here that the box will stay sturdy. You don't want to compromise the integrity of your box. So all of this is going to stay, and we're just going to cut out this square inside, and that corresponds to where our wire is so that we can have an open side, but there's still plenty of structure to this box to hold it up. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out using scissors. You could use a box cutter, whatever's easiest, and then we'll go for the next step from there. Now, I pulled this out because what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this together for the sturdiness of it. I'm going to pull this out, cut the top first, then I'll cut out what I need on here, and then I'll tape or glue this together just to give it a little bit of extra support. There you go, and you can see that was it's not totally the easiest thing to do with scissors. I would totally recommend you get a box cutter, but it worked. So now I can flip up my panel and I can draw on it to show me where I want to cut that out, the lid piece. I'm just going to flip this back in. And this one I probably could tape around the inside here. We could do that just to make it a little sturdier. But honestly, it's staying together just fine by itself. So we may not even need to do that. So there we go. This is the base of our dipper. Now let's do the finishing touch. We're just going to take our frame and we're done. I actually don't recommend permanently attaching this to the bottom because one thing that's really neat is once, you know, if you're hanging these here to dry and you want to take them off, you can always lift the whole thing up, pull it down, and maybe it's a little easier to work with. So I don't even attach mine. I just let it sit on the top. The other thing that's really great about this setup, because this is literally all there is, except for in a minute I'm going to talk to you about how you hang your beads, because I have a couple of suggestions for that. The other thing about this is when you're not using it, and as long as this is dry in here, go stick it in a closet. It stores perfectly. And you can even put all your glazing supplies in here too, and just stick it in the closet. So it doesn't have to be out and around. You don't have pieces and parts to keep track of. It's its own little box and carrying case. So now we're going to talk about how you actually use this to dry your beads and how you would hang them down. Now we're not going to actually glaze anything in this video because I'm going to use this box for 2 different glazing methods. So I just wanted to show you how to create the box itself in this video. We will actually do some glazing in future videos, but I'm going to show you how you would actually hang the beads. So the first thing you need is you need to string your beads on the fishing wire. So what I bought here is just 10-pound fishing wire. I got it from Walmart for, I think it was like $2.50. There's a lot here, 1,400 yards. This is going to last me a while. Now you can get stronger line if you want, but I recommend lighter line so that it doesn't curve on you. I've heard people say different things, so it's totally up to you. Now I've already strung a bunch of beads here for our example, and what you want to do here basically is you want to string your beads right next to each other so that they're touching. And then you want to have a throwaway bead on either end. The reason you'll do this is because some of the glaze will gather and drip. And also we're going to be turning our lines. So you want to have one on either end. Whatever bead is on the end is probably going to get ruined. So that's why you want to use a throwaway bead. So like for example, these are the pretty beads made with cardstock. These are just some quick ones that I whipped up with magazine paper that I didn't even worry about how they were shaped because they were just going to be throwaway beads. So I just did a real quick bead there. So you also want to loop your ends. And what I did is I went ahead and actually tied it around my throwaway bead to make sure things didn't fall off the edges, okay? So I have several of these ready for our demonstration. Now, the trick is you're gonna want to hang the beads from here. So when you're selecting your box, how long of a bead thing you're gonna be depends on how tall your box is, right? So the taller your box is, the more beads you're going to be able to get on a strand. You don't want beads hanging down into your pan where they're going to touch, okay? So keep that in mind when you're choosing your box. Not only do you have to think about the width of the pan, but you also need to think about how tall your box is, all right? So there's a few methods. One method that I tried that I really like is I got these, again from Walmart. I think it was $2 or $3. And these are for knitting and crocheting. These are little plastic hooks that you're supposed to put into your knitting or crocheting to mark your stitch count. But what I'm doing with them is I am hooking one on either end, whichever end is going up. So I'm hooking it on here. And then I can just hook it right here and hang my bead from it. And it's super easy to grab. It's super easy to get off and get on. It really has worked out well for me. Okay, another option that you could do is you could grab some of these guys. Now, these are actually badge clips. You're going to find these, like at Walmart, you can find these in the stationery or office supply section. They are these little metal clips with the badge hooks on them, and there's some different styles. But we're going to use this and literally hook it here, and then we can just clip it wherever we want onto our chicken wire. Okay? And then the last option that I found that I liked, now the last option I found that I like is this clip. This is called a spring clip, and again, you can get these at Walmart, a pack of 12 for like $3. And what we're going to do here is we'll actually hold this up here where we want it, and we will put the spring clip through the top and let it hang down that way. So those are 3 different options for actually hanging your beads while you're using your dipping box. And that's it. Now this entire setup cost me under $10. The box was free because it was something that already came to us when we bought something else. The pan, I think it was $1 at the dollar store. The frame cost me $3. And then the clips, I spent, any of those 3 methods, I would have spent $3 or under on any of those methods. So you're talking about, so $1, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7 to make this whole setup. $7. Not bad, right? I love this craft because paper beading is probably one of the least expensive crafts I have ever done. Absolutely love that about it. This is it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I will be happy to answer them. If you have any suggestions to add to this, I would love to hear it. So please add those in the comments below. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you hit that bell to be notified, you'll be sure to know when the next 2 glazing videos go live. Thanks for being here.